It's a tough day for those who can't stand to see Colorado win. I've got news for you. This is not a farce. This is not a facade. This is not a mirage or any other word you want to put in there. This is a Colorado football team that is just good. Are they national championship good? I don't think so. Are they Big 12 championship good? Yeah. And I didn't think they were. Coming into this season, I thought pretty clearly, one of my favorite over bets on FanDuel when the win totals were released in the spring was, wait, Colorado 4.5? Over, please. Yeah, check coming your way if you listen to me on that one. And it went up to 5.5. I said, yeah, I'm still going here. I think this is a bowl team. I had 6-7 wins. I landed on 6 because I thought the schedule was pretty tough. Turns out Utah can't figure out how to keep a quarterback healthy and on the football field, or else they might be a good team. But Colorado scored on their defense anyway. I mean, the interceptions are... That's a whole other conversation. Utah is a mess. Every week is an outright loss for Utah because they're just wallowing in misery right now. And frankly, that's the bed that they have made for themselves in more ways than one. But for Colorado, not with the injuries thing, but anyway, different conversation. We're talking about the Buffs because the Buffs deserve it. This is not, oh, you're just talking about Colorado because they get all sorts of clicks and attention and whatnot. No, not at all. I'm just looking at the Big 12 landscape and I'm watching these teams play every week and I say to myself, Colorado's really good. Colorado's a good football team. They can play offense. They can play defense. They can erase 2nd and 20 as well as any team in the country. Forget the Big 12 because they have Shedeur Sanders, they have Travis Hunter, and every single one of those wide receivers looks like they are running at a 98 acceleration on EA College Football 25 every time they catch the ball. So they have the ability. And today against Utah, they even ran the football. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Colorado being a team that can run the football? They've won 4 straight games. They have scored in those contests, wait for it, 34, 34, 41, and 49 points. They go at Kansas next week. Don't sit there and think that that's an easy football game. You can ask BYU how good they are. But on a day where Colorado, look, I know they only ran for 65 yards, but I'm really just thinking of the one long touchdown run they had. That just didn't happen. It wasn't there, wasn't available. Buffs were just 3 of 11 on third down of this game. They won anyway, but they give up 24 points to the Utes. They pick off Isaac Wilson 3 times in the football game. This Buffs front 4 is not to be trifled with. Utah ran for 31 yards. These teams ran for a combined 96 yards on the ground. That was not allowed when Colorado played games last year. The defense wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow for another team to be held under 50 yards on the ground. I don't care who's playing quarterback. Cam Rising, Isaac Wilson, doesn't matter. The Utes are usually able to run the football. Well, no, they can't. They can't do it. This is just a good Colorado team. Not saying their defense is great. Not saying it's the best. It's clearly good enough. There are a lot of college football teams, LSU 2023, USC 2022, that you look at and go, boy, if this side of the ball was just average, if it was just capable sometimes of being fine, this would be a good football team. That's what you have with Colorado. The offense is largely the same as a year ago. Yeah, they have a new offensive coordinator in there, but guess what? 2's going to throw to 12 in a big moment. Whoa! Expansive playbook. I know it's more complicated than that, but you get the point I'm making here. Colorado is a team that has always been able to score, but you're like, well, they can't stop anybody. Well, now they can stop somebody. Points allowed in the last several games for the Buffs. It goes like this. 24, 27, 23, 7. By the way, they could have beaten Kansas State. You remember that? Remember? And that defense wasn't able to get a stop there. Wasn't able to. Well, no one's perfect. And since then, Colorado's rattled off 4 straight wins. Kansas is going to be a tough game. Kansas is going to be a tough game. You're going to go to the middle of the country. You're going to play in a stadium that you are completely unfamiliar with, that frankly Kansas is barely familiar with since they're not playing home games this year. They're playing at Arrowhead Stadium, and Colorado's got to win that game. But if they do, Colorado controls their own destiny to go to the playoff, to make the Big 12 championship game. Maybe not in that order. Maybe flip that around, because I remain adamant that 10-2 Colorado that isn't a Big 12 champion. I mean, at this point, if they were to go 10-2, they would make the Big 12 championship game. So let's say they do that and they lose the Big 12 championship game, 10-3. Sorry, you're not getting in. Just like I feel like BYU, 11-2, though I think 11-2 should be in. I don't know if the committee's going to do that. They certainly won't do it for a 3-loss Big 12 team. But Colorado controls their own fate. And you know who else does? Arizona State. I don't know what to do with the Coach of the Year award. I don't have a vote in the Big 12, but if I did, I don't know what to do. Kalani Sitake and Kenny Dillingham are wildly exceeding expectations. And by the way, Colorado is exceeding even my expectations. And I was someone who said, yeah, they're good. They're not Big 12 championship ready. Oh, nope, they are. There they are. They're just a good football team. They're beating teams that are okay or not very good by a lot of points. Again, they beat UCF by wait for it. Oh yeah, that's right, 27 points. That was on the road. By the way, that Hail Mary savior against Baylor. Yep, should have lost the football game, but they didn't. And Baylor's actually a pretty good team. They beat Cincinnati by 11, Texas Tech by 14, Utah by 25. They haven't played a close game since Kansas State. And you know what? If they went toe-to-toe with Nebraska on the same field, I don't think it'd be 28-10. Nebraska could still win the football game, but I don't think it'd be 28-10. So this is a team that has done a tremendous job of getting better over the course of the season. And my goodness, Arizona State is just good. This result really surprised me because I've liked Kansas State all year, but they couldn't move the ball. Brian Ward and that defensive unit for the Sun Devils stepped up in a big way. And the Arizona State Sun Devils, who the Big 12 media, not me here on this show, the Big 12 media as a whole picked Arizona State dead last. And this is why college football is beautiful. Think Neil Brown last year, picked last, wins 9 games. Kenny Dillingham feels like he's doing that. So if you have a Coach of the Year vote, who are you going to? Can those 3 guys share the award? They've done co-coaches of the year before. That's the thing in conferences, but who are you leaving off? I had higher aspirations and hopes for Colorado than I did Arizona State and BYU. I didn't think ASU and BYU were bowl teams before this year. I was very wrong. And on Colorado, I was wrong, but not as wrong as on the other 2. So, because I had like a little bit of rightness sprinkled in there with the Buffs, I had a little bit of rightness sprinkled in there with the Sun Devils and the Cougars like everybody else. I just kind of whiffed for the most part, except for maybe people in Provo. I doubt they thought the same way that I did. But I don't know. I don't know what you do with that because Kenny Dillingham doesn't just have a team that's a fun story. They're a good football team. They went on the road. They won by 10. They led 21-0. Do you realize that? Arizona State went into the Little Apple and said, wow, that's cute that you have this name here and all. We don't care. 21-0 at the half. Avery Johnson and company couldn't move the football consistently. They couldn't get themselves into scoring position. They put up good yards by the end of it. You look at the box score, they had 412 total yards. Well, whoop-de-freaking-do. The object isn't to score yards, it's to score points. And Arizona State scored 10 more. They're 8-2. They are 8-2. The Sun Devils are 5-2 in conference play. And yes, they control their own destiny to make the Big 12 championship game and therefore make the college football playoff. Isn't that wild? Remember, Kansas State was ranked 16th in this spot. If they had won and improved to 8-2 and 5-2 in conference play, which is Arizona State's record, where would they be? Oh, that's right. They'd be at least 16th. So by the college football playoff rankings own metrics, Arizona State should catapult into being a top 20 team. And I'd have a hard time keeping them out of there. Like top 25 bare minimum, but boy, they're playing like a top 20 team. They got it done against UCF at home last week. They smoked Oklahoma State. Yeah, they lost at Cincinnati. Yeah, they lost at Texas Tech. That's why I wouldn't put them in the top 10, not why I'd keep them out of the top 20. You can't beat a top 20 team on the road like that, and then you're going to play a top 15 team at home. That's the biggest game that Tempe has seen in a long time. Herm Edwards did some lasting damage to the Arizona State football program, and Kenny Dillingham has righted that ship really quickly. And BYU's coming into town, and then it's the duel in the desert, and I tell you what, I thought before the year Arizona would be a better team than Arizona State. They're not. They're not. Arizona won. They beat Houston. Congratulations. Brent Brennan's seat can cool off a little bit for now. I don't think it should be hot regardless. But hey, that's not something that I have reported as a rumor before. That has been floated around in Arizona circles. But Arizona State's a better football team. So if they can beat BYU, Tempe's going to be hopping. Have you seen Mountain America Stadium? When it is at capacity, when they are crazy, when the juices, yes, those juices, not the BYU type, are really flowing down there on Arizona State's campus, I tell you what, it can be a heck of an environment. Next Saturday, BYU in town, that's going to be phenomenal. It's just going to be phenomenal, and I cannot wait. But I am happy for Kenny Dillingham and company because that guy cares. That guy endured a bowl ban last year and inherited a messy situation, and he is just coaching the heck out of that entire team. And Arizona State controls their own destiny to win the Big 12 and make the college football playoff, just like the Colorado Buffaloes. So yeah, Arizona State, an outright winner this week. Colorado, a lean win this week because they got some help from BYU to make things a little bit clearer in the Big 12 title race. But you could see two teams that weren't in this conference last year playing in the conference championship game. College football in 2024. Go figure.